Hello and welcome to another whiskey review with me, the Whiskey Novice. Thank you for joining me. We are still rushing around distilleries which I have never tried before. I've never reviewed before. Well, certainly, never reviewed before. There's probably in some cases in this series, it might be distilleries that I've tried, maybe tried many times, but I've just never reviewed them before. So this time, it's not the first turn for this one, Signatory Vintage in this series, and I don't think it's actually the first turn for the Signatory Vintage 100 Proof series as well. This time we're looking at Miltonduff, a 2011 Miltonduff 14-year-old. I'm briefly going to jump in before I get into this whiskey, and just because the question has raised its head a time or two, I know about this series. And this is a good series to explain it with, the 100 Proof. In modern terms, Proof doesn't tend to get used an awful lot. It's just become a bit of a marketing ploy, I suppose. Certainly this side of the pond, because in the US you would maybe still see it used more in bourbon. 100, now see if I can explain this simply. In the US, proofing, the equation for proofing is 1/2, shall we say. So your ABV will be 1/2 of what the proof is. And if you see it in US terms, so for example, bottled in bond must be 100 proof. So that'll be 50% ABV. Relatively simple equation. Imperial proofing, this side of the pond, the old, probably what we consider the old style of proofing, not just so simple. 4/7 is the equation. Or close to 4/7 anyway. 4/7 is as close as you sort of get. So 100 proof, which is what this is called, 4/7 of 100, 57.1. Another good example of it is the Glenfarclas, the 105. 4/7 of 105 is, I'm listening, that's correct, 60% ABV. You will see it in an awful lot of the older bottlings, as in like pre-war bottlings. Certainly, I've seen a lot of them in the Irish Whiskey Museum in which I work. That it's 70 proof. So you do. I had heard people saying, well, if it's 70 proof, there must have been a time whenever 35 ABV was considered whiskey. Well, no, that's not the case. 4/7 of 70, 40. So it was 70 proof. It was still 40% ABV. So there, that's that one explained. Let's look at Miltonduff. Chivas owned, so Pernod Ricard. A Speyside distillery, established 1824. And this one, let's just look at this one, because I don't tend to dive into the bottles, into the distillery too much. Maybe I should be. But this one, as I said at the start, Miltonduff, 2011, aged 14 years, bottled at 57.1%, non-chill filtered, natural colour, Signatory Vintage. I'm very, very fond of them, and it's what you get for your money. I think this was around the £48 mark. Very few of the 100 proof series come in over £50 a bottle. That is phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal for what you get. So let's see what you actually get here. Rich, sweet, gooey. I did forget, so it's Oloroso. This is, and the reason, there'll be more than one of these coming soon. And I'm getting a little confused with myself because there's so many. One of the issues I do have a bit with the Signatory Vintage stuff is an awful lot of sherry casks used. I'm getting my complaints out now. Now we're starting to see more bourbon cask stuff coming through the Signatory Vintage, but just up to this point, there's been an awful lot of sherry cask stuff, and they're very heavy sherry cask. This case, as I said, first and second fill Oloroso. First fill Oloroso sherry hogsheads, first fill Oloroso sherry butts. Sorry. So I said first and second. It's all first fill. But these guys are getting their hands on some good casks. Signatory Vintage, Edward Hour Distillery, known for their big sherry hitters, big sherry bombs. This is no different. Wet casks, sweet, brown, sugary, figs. It is rich, blood orange. There's a very, very fruity note of this, and that fruity note is blood orange because the citrus is there and it's dark, it's rich. There's a almost weirdly darker effervescence of this. Like, I mean, when I think about effervescence, sometimes like natural effervescence, I think about the likes of sherbet on the palate. Well, there is a sherbety note of this, but it's like blackcurrant sherbet, if that's such a thing. It is now. It's lovely, it's chocolatey, it's rich, it's everything you would want out of a good sherry bomb. Bottled at 57.1%, 14 years old, £48 a bottle. Yeah. Sweet, sour, slightly salty. Arrival. Coffee as an initial note, which I hadn't mentioned before. I'm only getting it here. So rich, so big. So sweet. Figs, once again. All of the sweetness. And it is sweet, but it feels natural. It feels like natural fruit. I keep repeating figs. Even notes of plum. Yes, the darker fruits are there. Sultanas. Yeah. So thick and rich. This is beautiful. And the finish just goes on forever. And all that finish is... It's weird because it's not... I would have said if it was anything, it's a sort of somewhere between cinnamon and clove. But there's not an awful lot of heat off it, weirdly. It just goes on and on and on. It's just... Once again, there's chocolatey notes of it. Bourbon cream, as in the biscuit. That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And what you get for your money is just second to none. Let's add a splash of water and see what happens. So, it's had some water. It's had some time. Remember, time is important. Oh, baby. This is one of the reasons I fell in love with whiskey in the first place. This is malty and rich, and the orange notes are there. The chocolate notes are still there. It's a good, classic, a sherry, heavily sherried space cider. And if you hang around to the end, I had already planned. I might throw you a couple of offerings actually, put it like that. This needs water. This needs water. This was fantastic. It's now amazing. It's just round off any edges. You know, it's just made it so, it was creamy already, it was thick already. It's just rounded that off. It's taken any dry elements out of there. And it's just, you know, I just think this is amazing. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for these guys to see. I don't know whether, maybe they already have. I haven't checked whether there's a Bunnahabhain, a peated ammonia, you know, so obviously you'd be talking a Stoisha if it was independently bottled. Sherry cat, I would imagine these guys could do a hell of it. I mean, so there was Moina Olorosos a few years ago, but this, I mean, if this was peated, this is where I'm leading with this. If this was peated, I'd be wetting myself right now because this is fantastic as it is. I could just picture this. I can imagine this with a peated hint to it. It would quite need to be quite heavily peated, but phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And what's phenomenal about it is what you get for your money. This is untouchable in my opinion. Absolutely untouchable what these guys are doing. It's to me, it's throwing down a huge challenge to every other whiskey producer, every other independent bottler. Look what we're doing for the price that we're doing it at. Now match or beat that. Happy days to you, Signatory Vintage. Applause to you. Signatory Vintage deserve all the credit they get for this series. They really do. Buy as much of it as you can. So, I did say I might, because I actually had, I remember whenever I was doing my tasting notes and I dipped in elsewhere, and I was going to suggest this, the Edward 12-year-old, the Caledonia, sherry bomb, wet casks, or that, whatever way Edward or Signatory Vintage are doing it, they get this real, almost dipping into the sherry vinegar element of things, where there's a slightly vinegary notes at times. And that, to me, I always put that down to just, well, they're picking and choosing their casks, they're picking and choosing the bodegas that they get them from, probably. And I always found there was just a quality there that a lot of the other ones drop. This one, actually, I'm going to change my mind. I don't think I've ever done this, because I'm changing my mind on the hoof here. I've never, I've usually planned, I've changed my mind. But when I was just now doing this, recording this video, I thought of something totally different. I can say totally different, the Aberlour Abuna. And when I say the Aberlour Abuna, well, your batch variant in that, because they will change every time. But this reminds me, and I think it was that saying that about it reminding me, because one of the big early sherry bomb space ciders that I hit upon with the high ABV was the Aberlour Abuna. So it's I won't buy it anymore because it's overpriced. And I mean, this is a good example. This is the perfect example of why the Abuna is overpriced, because the quality here, in my opinion, is every bit as good as the Aberlour, if not better, for less than, well, certainly around about half the price. So I would not even go down there the Aberlour route of the Abuna anymore. Great whiskey. But I just think that what you're getting here for your money, with a 14-year-old age statement on it, is superior. And I've sort of steered away from Miltonduff in this one, as in I've just been banging on about Signatory Vintage and other distilleries. That's maybe not fair to Miltonduff, but with that said too, probably not seeing an awful lot of distillery signature going on here because of the sherry, the heavy sherry casks. But, I mean, there's still distillate involved in this. It's Miltonduff's distillate, and it's good, and it all works together. So there, look, can't say enough about it. Really cannot say enough about it. So I'll leave it at that and say thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you very much to my patrons. Should anybody wish to join that group and show the channel a little more support, the details are in the video description below. I'll be back the next time, and I hope you can join me then. Until then, look after yourselves. Here's to your good health. Cheers.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.